with Saint Laurent. Gotta kiss myself, I'm so pretty. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Saturday night and we in the spot. Don't believe me, just watch. Shaun. Don't believe me, just watch.
Hello, what a story we've already had on this semi-finals day at the Dafabet Masters. Alexandra Palace was pretty stunned this afternoon to see the defending champion Ronnie O'Sullivan go out after suffering what was his heaviest defeat, 6-1, for almost 5 years. It came at the hands of the world #1 Neil Robertson, who was quite simply awesome today. He and we will find out tonight who he'll be facing in the final tomorrow. Will it be England's former world champion Shaun Murphy or the quick-scoring, pugnacious Northern Irishman Mark Allen, the man they call the Pistol?
Technical.
Unusually, Mark Allen lines up over his outside eye, in this case his left. But he still feels the need to put his chin on the cue. This looks awkward, but it's only aesthetically.
He has a very short final pullback before delivery. This makes for great control at the top of the table, and he's also usually quick off the mark in a match. He has great reflexes, so he is still able to generate a great deal of power when needed.
His grip is highly unorthodox. It seems like the butt of the cue could possibly fall out of his hand, but a loose grip is preferable to a white-knuckled one. Tactical. When it comes to break building, his compact delivery of the cue equates to a very consistent judgment of the pace of the cue ball. As a result, he rarely loses position when the reds are open but covering each other.
Like all the top players, his safety is good, but he doesn't particularly enjoy playing it, and sometimes that can lead to a lack of patience just when he needs it.
Psychological. Mark's a fiery character both on and off the table. Whether it's shot selection or knowing when to offer his opinion, he could sometimes do with taking a deep breath before he cuts loose.
His concentration sometimes wanders, particularly against the players who try to slow the match down. If he wants to win more, he needs to keep his focus.
In 8 World Championship appearances, he has managed 2 quarter-finals and 1 semi-final. He never appears to be nervous in the big matches, but his record suggests he could do better.
Well, this is Mark Allen's second Masters semi-final, but let's take a check on Shaun Murphy's record. Made the breakthrough really in 2012 when he reached the final only to fall to Neil Robertson. But he's been an ever-present in the semis since then. This is the 4th in a row for the 32-year-old who's already won the world and UK titles and only needs this one to complete his snooker CV. The Masters is the only one of the Triple Crown events he's so far failed to capture.
Came here to try my best and make a good start to the new year. Worked hard in the few days before I came to London, and I'm very, very pleased to still be batting.
There's been many times I've come here and played pretty well and get beat. You're playing against top players in the world, and that can happen. And I think one thing I do have is good bottle. There's not too many matches that I've lost where I've thought, no, I've really bottled it there and should have won and missed an easy one. No, I've always been pretty happy with having that. It's a good thing to have in your locker.
It's a very, very tough event, this. This is what the people come to watch. It's the best in the world beating each other up. And anybody could come out the winner on Sunday. I just hope I'm in the shouting match. But, I've got Mark in the way at the moment. We've had some great matches over the years.
playing him in the semis is going to be a tough match. It's going to be very open. I'd be confident going into it, although I need to improve from my last match, but my recent record against Shaun's pretty good.
The thing you know about Mark Allen is that he will get better. He won't continue playing like that. So I have to take that into account. I know he's going to come out all guns blazing, or at least I have to prepare for that. But what can I do about it? Just make sure I prepare well, do my thing, play my shots as well as I can, and see who gets to 6 first.
So, another great semi-final at the Masters, Steve, and Shaun Murphy, what have you made of his progress over the last week or so?
Shaun's had a couple of matches, one a bit wobbly, but then last night's match was fantastic. His first round match against Mark Selby should have closed it out 6-2. In the end, he struggled to get over the line 6-5. But yesterday, against Stephen Maguire, he was in fantastic condition. I mean, like potting them from all over the place. He stole the show from Stephen Maguire, perhaps the best performance I've seen Shaun Murphy make for many a year. And in a similar way, you know, from the perspective from his opponent, Mark Allen, similar sort of one match not so good, the other.
Been a real Jekyll and Hyde where he's concerned. I mean, the first match against John Higgins, I think, was personally the best match of the tournament so far. Higgins had 3 centuries and a 96 and a 59, lost 6-4. But yesterday, well, it wasn't going very well. But what I was impressed with Mark Allen yesterday, his game wasn't all there, Steve, but at 4-4, he dug his heels in, decided, you know, I'm going to play hard match play for 2 frames and just get to 6, and he's got through.
OK, both these players know full well, they're experienced enough to know it doesn't matter what has happened in previous matches, every day is a different day on a snooker table.
Absolutely, Steve. So, Rob, it's all yours. Bring the players out.
Thanks, John. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the very last session of snooker before tomorrow's final in the 2015 Daffabet Masters. We have 2 world-class players and 2 great mates going toe-to-toe here at Ali Pali for the right to join Robbo in tomorrow's big showdown. Please welcome a class act on and off the bays. Superb victories over Mark Selby and Stephen Maguire have put him 1 match away from a second Masters final. World champion in 05, UK champion in 08. This is the one he needs to complete the Triple Crown. So here comes the magician. Here comes Shaun Murphy. His opponent, one of the most exciting break builders in the game. Twice a ranking event winner in China. He'd love to win a big one right here in Britain. Arguably playing some of the best snooker of his career. His form against Higgins in the first round was sublime. He is the pride of Northern Ireland. He is the pistol. He's Mark Allen.
You can feel this at home. Fantastic, tingling sensation right round this Alexandra Palace this evening for the second semi-final. Murphy has emphatically had the better of it in their previous matches, 8 wins to Allen's 2, but it's all about the next 11 frames. And 6 times Masters winner Stephen Hendry alongside John Virgo in the box tonight. And Stephen, with Ronnie out, at least one of your records is safe for now, anyway.
Thank you, Hazel. One bit of good news this week.
Thank you, thank you. The first frame, Mark Allen to break.
Well, as Hazel commented on, the atmosphere electric. And these 2 players well capable of serving up a feast of snooker this evening. Shaun Murphy was imperious last night against Stephen Maguire. Couldn't say the same about Mark Allen in his match against Joe Perry, but as Steve Davis said, it's a different day. couldn't risk playing the pot on the red because he couldn't get the cue ball round the back of the black. So just playing a containing safety.
You wouldn't expect too many long safety battles with these two tonight. Both much prefer an open, aggressive game. Shaun, the last few months, has been a very heavy scorer. Cue ball just never came far enough off the cushion, I think, for Mark to be tempted by this red. Well, looks like he's aiming up for it. Obviously can screw past the bunch.
And he went full-blooded for it, and playing for it in that way, he was always going to leave a red if it didn't go in, and that's exactly what's happened. So here's a chance for Shaun. Bit of disturbance there, some speaker going off, so Shaun gets up, back down, important pot this. Right in the heart of the pocket, and he's just about on the black.
Yeah, beautifully struck. I think along with Neil Robertson, probably two best consistent long potters in the game. Other players on their day will pot tremendous balls, but I think consistently over a season, Murphy and Robertson are the best two long potters in snooker.
Too thin. It's understandable.
Murphy, 1.
First frame of the match, but he'd be disappointed to have missed it. So that mistake from Mark Allen has only cost him 1 point, and he comes back to the table after that missed black with a great chance.
One.
He's on the black, but I think the way he was trying to cannon the second red, he was hoping to be on the pink. He's played the cannon there. If he'd have caught that red, the second red full in the face, he'd have been on the pink. I'm not certain where the black will go after it's potted. Well, I know where it will go now. It'll go on the spot. That's an excellent shot. That really is good. He's made room for the black. Well thought out.
Hey.
I think that black was going to go somewhere near the pink and tie both the high-valued colours up. Good shot.
Nine.
Finish short in the blue, but he'll just follow through, leave this red that's to the left of the pink to the left corner. If he can get straight on that, it's just a matter of stunning the cue ball for the pink to the right corner. So just concentrate on the pot.
14.
And already looks a different player
15.
from his quarter-final match. Even when he was potting balls in that match, John, they weren't even in the middle of the pocket. And he really struggled. They look really determined coming into the arena tonight.
$21. Yep. 22.
Jumped up very quick. Got a new referee, of course, this year at the Masters from Romania, Alex Christen, and he won't have refereed in many highly charged matches as this. There's a buzz of excitement in the air, but he's done a very good job so far this week.
$28. $29. $36.
This is just the kind of an opportunity you hope to get. You come out to the first frame of a big match.
37.
As you said before, John, the first shot he played, the first black to open things up, has really created this opportunity. He'd be disappointed not to win the frame at this visit.
$44. 45.
I don't think you could get two more contrasting cue actions the two players have got tonight either. Mark Allen, quite a short, jabby action. Shaun Murphy, the more traditional, long flowing action.
52. $53. $60.
So 59 points to the lead, 75 remaining. That basically equates to, well, red, colour red.
$61.
And that black now puts him 67 points in front. 67 remaining, but not for long. Perfect on the red.
68.
Well, that's a shame. Well, he's okay, he's on the pink. I would say it was a shame because he got quite a heavy contact there, but it didn't affect the position. And, well, Shaun missed the black. And we always say if you miss when you're in amongst
76.
the balls, invariably can cost you dear. And it has done. And this is a perfect start for Mark Allen.
83.
Be nice to see the century. But we're not going to. Well, that was a little bit careless. Shaun Murphy sits in his seat, nods. Should have seen a century, but Mark Allen won't be too bothered. He got a chance in that frame, and he took it well. He leads 1-0.
Well, Mark Allen, the world number 6, knew that he really had to improve after his showing in the quarter-final against Joe Perry, and that is a very decent start, John.
Yeah, he certainly improved, because the first 8 frames yesterday in that match, he had a 46 break in a 30, and that was it. And he's already had an 80 break in this one. So as Stephen mentioned yesterday in the studio, one thing he will do is play better than he played yesterday.
Indeed. And, you know, we were talking earlier on about the contrasting fortunes of Mark Allen in this championship. John and I were chatting this morning and saying that he's been involved in the best match, arguably, against John Higgins, where he did make a century in an 88, and possibly the worst against Joe Perry. How do you explain that difference between those two performances, Steve?
Oh, well, it could be a little bit of expectation. You know, coming into the match against John Higgins, you just had to know he was going to be playing against another tough player, and it was just go for it. But then all of a sudden he puts in such a great performance against John Higgins. His next match, he perhaps expects too much of himself, or perhaps it's an anti-climax, and he struggles to get over the line. But I think now he's sort of back in the zone of he's playing against another great player semi-final. He can then just focus on the game, not expect so much of himself.
What do you expect from this matchup, John? Because clearly the two of them do like to get in amongst it and to embark on some pretty heavy scoring.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think it's going to be, Hayes. I think it's going to be a heavy scoring. I think you know, Shaun made a mistake there, letting Mark has made 80. You'd expect it the way these two play the game and the way they score so heavily, that's what it would be.
OK, into the second frame.
Shaun Murphy gets frame 2 underway, and a good break-off shot. Good length for the cue ball. And just first glance, it's got Mark Allen a little spot of bother here. If he tries to get back to the balk end down the left-hand side of the table, that's fraught with danger with that red near the left-hand side cushion. I don't think he can play the containing safety and leave the cue ball near the top cushion. There's tournament safety success. I think with safety success, sometimes very difficult. I mean, that's based on you play a shot and the other guy doesn't pot a ball off it. But the tournament pot success, well, good for Shaun, but now made the attempt. Where's that cue ball going? Well, he's put his hand up there to apologise, Mark Allen. I don't know why. I think I'd have preferred the cue ball to go in the pocket, because there's a red on here to the left middle. Trying to play that a little bit thicker to avoid that red on the left-hand side of the table. But as I say, there is a possibility of a pot here, unless he's angled. Maybe that's why Mark Allen apologised. There you see, stuck against the right-hand jaw as we look. Well, he put on the side to avoid the red on the left-hand side of the table, but he hit the blue. As I say, he put lots of side on to avoid that red on near the left-hand cushion, but couldn't avoid that, what seems a big blue in the middle of the table. I think the black is available for Shaun. He's got such a lot of cute power. He could screw back for the pink, whatever he fancies, but got to pot the red.
Yeah, this is the sort of shot you don't really expect Shaun to miss. They're tough shots, but he normally cues them so well. Yeah, this is an excellent shot. Excellent safety shot.
Yeah, that was a crackerjack. That really was good. And there's Shaun's mother, Jean. Second time she's going to watch it, and his fiancée, Elaine. They got engaged over the Christmas period. Well, good return, but the possibility of this red to the right corner. Now, for a lot of players, you've been thinking, well, he's got a lot to do with the cue ball, but as I say, he's got so much cue power as Shaun, and he might just be able to squeeze it in and run back up the table. It was too straight. Good pot, but just caught the jaws of the pocket. Only a safety shot now. But good straight cueing. Bless you.
Green ball. Shaun Murphy, 1.
Not the first safety shot, but Mark has hit too thick. Now what's he left? Who's so concerned with trying to get position on the colour? And as we've said many times, if you have a little bit of to do with the cue ball, So many players just have a tendency just to take their eye off the pot. So without having to do much, as in the first frame, Mark Allen gets a good chance.
Yeah, he seemed to just take quite a long time to get down to that shot, Shaun. In the end, the shot was pretty obvious, but seemed to, well, they're taking a while to settle himself or not. But like the first frame, Mark Allen's made a mistake, and he's getting the first good chance from it.
Six. Seven.
Well, there's Shaun sitting in his seat, suffering, just trying to force the cue ball across for position on the black. But didn't pot the red. Now, where does the black go? I know it's on its spot. Is it going to be available? Now, is it available in any of the corner pockets? Looks unlikely, so he's going to have to concentrate on the pink because the blue's out of commission.
Yeah, this is pretty comfortable though. It's done this pink in, the red that's to the right of the pink, to the right corner. Then he's got the pink clear to both corner pockets and both middle pockets. So not really a concern, the black being out of commission at the moment.
21.
Quite comfortably win this frame from pinks now.
$22.
I think this is where his cue action's excellent, John, around these little stuns and screw shots around the pink and black. These fast cloths, I think, is ideally suited to it.
Yeah, and you see the grip, it's a very loose one. Well, he jumped up there. I mean, from where we were looking, never looked like the pink wasn't going to go in, but just wasn't happy with the contact.
28.
But he gives Shaun a bit of hope when he jumps up there. Mistake there, though. And to hit that positional shot. Didn't want to be using the rest. Not quite certain of the availability. He'll have to play for a red into the same pocket as the pink. Not quite certain which red he can play on or which red goes in this right corner.
I think he possibly looked to screw the cue ball off the side cushion first, then the black cushion. This red is closest to the pocket, right corner pocket now. You could play for that one.
well. But whether he is on the red that's closest to the pocket or not, it'll be tight.
35.
That's the only one that can get him on a colour while he's getting down, so he can get to it.
$36.
But that was always going to be the problem with the blue not on its spot. Once he went up for a baulk colour, once that cue ball starts travelling up and down the table, then it's not that easy to get perfect position on the next ball. Needs a good shot now.
Yeah, the automatic positional shot to get a red to the right corner is to play the yellow of 3 cushions, but the blue's in the way for that. Well, it's not in the way, but it's an obstacle. If he gets into the cue ball too much, he could cannon the blue. May choose to just play off 2 cushions now. Well, that's a good shot. He screwed in below the blue. So has he got an angle to cannon the red now, to the left of the black?
38.
Yeah, that could be the shot here if he just gets this cannon right. It's a delicate little shot. Played it perfectly.
39.
Well played.
Well, Shaun went 2-0 down last night against Steve Maguire.
46.
It's looking like it's going to give the same handicap away tonight.
Yeah, the only slight difference, Stephen, I commentated on that match, he didn't have a chance in the live play of those first 2 frames. What would concern Shaun a little bit,
47.
he has had chances in this match in the first 2 frames and missed a couple of balls that you wouldn't expect.
$54.
Well, another
55.
one. Bad contact. And he's only looking for 1 more red. If it had run through as it should have done, he'd have been nicely on the black. So look at the scoreboard now, 54 points in front. Possible 59 remaining, so just this pink needed to go 60 points in front. And it's there. So 60 points for lead, 59 remaining, and nicely on the next red. This frame looks
61.
all over now.
62.
Shaun Murphy hasn't made Mark Allen work for these chances. Well, the black's not got in.
Mark
61
Allen,
points
62.
to lead, 51 remaining. This red's close. This red's close. And that's end of frame. Playing right-handed. Shaun Murphy will not be coming back to the table now.
Michael and 8.
And he goes to his concession, so just the same as last night. He loses the first 2 frames, but as I say, slight difference. He's missed a few balls. Mark Allen hasn't missed much. He leads 2-0.
And let's just have a look at these two fellas and their respective records against one another. Murphy, 4 years on Mark Allen, and when you think about it, he's already a world champion, is Shaun Murphy. Mark Allen has really got to the cusp of things. He's been in a UK final, he's been in the semi-finals of the World Championship and here at the Masters, but has yet to make that big three breakthrough in one of the big major events in snooker. And he's actually had a very good season. He's up to a career high world ranking of 6 after getting to 4 finals in a row just before Christmas. So he's had a very good season, and this is a much better performance than what we saw yesterday in that quarterfinal so far from him, Steve.
Yeah, and I think, you know, down to expectations really, but it's tough to read things into individual matches, you know, and it can sometimes just boil down to whether you pot a ball or miss a ball. And in the case of Shaun Murphy, in that first frame, he potted a very good opening red and had a missable black, which he missed, and all of a sudden Mark Allen wins the first frame, and then Shaun Murphy's on the back foot.
What do you detect about Shaun Murphy's demeanour tonight? Because he's obviously not been able to get a foothold in the match so far.
I don't think anything's wrong. I think Mark Allen's is much better. I thought he looked a little bit subdued and sort of under the weather yesterday when he played against Joe Perry. He didn't look like his usual confident self. He certainly looks better tonight. And, you know, sometimes after having a match like that where you've just fell over the line basically and haven't played good, you can get a kickstart and think to yourself, well, you know, I didn't play any good, so what? I can relax and go and have a tournament. I wasn't expecting to be here.
Yeah.
Arguably, there is a pressure on after you come off the back of a brilliant performance that you want to do it again, and then you're trying too hard to do it again. The only person that looks like so far as if they succeeded in that department is Neil Robertson, having back-to-back fantastic performances.
Thank you.
We've had a lot of tweets at BBC Snooker, so please keep in touch. Park says, I was thinking about going to the pub for a wee minute, then I realised the snooker's on. Wild Saturdays. I'm glad we're doing our bit for your liver, Parks.
Yeah, enjoy the snooker, and there's plenty of snooker left in this. But, as we always say, you never really settle until you get that first frame on the scoreboard. So Shaun needs a frame sooner rather than later. 2 more frames to be played before the mid-session interval. He's got to knuckle down now, but that's an excellent break-off shot from Mark Allen. 2 points he's always scored in the first 2 frames, Shaun. I mean, normally you think, well, you could come off the side cushion, but there's a loose red on either side of the cluster. And if you just caught the wrong red, you'd leave a pot on. So it's not a straightforward escape, this, by any means. Always rolling down. Needs a bit more pace than that.
Following a miss.
Miss obviously called. Not certain to be taken. I think there's a red on here because he's done to hit it so badly. He's left the red to the left middle. Well, for once, Mark Allen hasn't taken advantage. Red obviously cuts to the left middle, but cue ball will be running loose. Well, he flicked the brown, but he needs that cue ball to run past the ball line. He's okay. Choice of brown or yellow.
Yellow ball. Three. 4.
2 straight in the black here to do anything about the pack at the minute. Just direct screw back for the red to the right corner. He'd like to get an angle this time. Finish high in the black, that'd be perfect. almost where the red is now. So he could play
11.
it with top and right hand side, right into the bunch. Be surprised if he played for the loose red here.
12.
Yeah, that's not ideal. He can play for the red below the black to the right corner, but much prefer to go into the bunch when you've got a loose red as a little bit of insurance.
Yes, well, he's got to get the angle on the black now.
19.
It's always risky,
Yeah.
leaving it till the last minute.
If he can just get the cue ball level with the black and putting the black to the left corner pocket. Quite a good bunch to go into as well from low in the black.
20.
Just let the cue ball maybe finish a bit farther away from the black than would be perfect. No problem, he's got all the cue power in the world. But the red that's directly above the black, be trying to stun into that. Perhaps hit it slightly, half ball to the left. Oh, he missed that red, and that's why he's on nothing.
27. Touching ball.
Yeah, he didn't catch that red immediately above the black. But I agree with you, Steve, and I'm surprised he didn't go into the reds the shot before when he could have been close on the black, made the black unmissable and really put some power into going into them. That one, because he was a bit of a distance from the black, just made it a little bit more difficult to hit the right ball when he was cannoning into the cluster. Touching ball was being called, so no problem just to run off the reds, but didn't make the most of this opportunity, you'll be thinking.
Shaun Murphy, 27.
Trying to get the cue ball in behind the brown here. Just has to watch he doesn't stick the red over the right centre pocket. And that's why he played it thinner.
Shaun really doesn't want to play safe off the cluster because he'll be opening all the reds up. And those two reds that are adjacent to the left middle pocket are blockers if he just catches it too thick or too thin. We've got to be careful here. So in the end decided not to risk trying to get the cue ball back to the balk end.
Yeah, I understand what you say about opening a bunch, but he's a pretty reasonable path off the left-hand side of the bunch to try and get the cue ball up behind the brown.
Yeah, it was a target that would invite you to play that shot, the brown and yellow.
I suppose it's easier playing that shot 2-0 ahead and 2-0 behind. He wants to get a frame on the board.
But you can't get too negative. Looking where the cue ball's finished. I think that probably surprised Shaun as much as me that red went in.
John Murphy, 1.
Now, has he not got the snooker? Has he got the snooker? If he hasn't, he may have left the possibility of this red to the middle. It's not easy, but he shouldn't have been left any kind of chance, and there is a chance. And it's just off straight, so if he was to miss it, he'd leave the cue ball tight against the side cushion. Wouldn't leave anything easy apart from the red he's playing. Might be in a potable position. It's worth taking on this, surely.
Yeah, I think if you decide to go for it, you just go for it full-blooded. If you miss it and leave a red on, so be it. Wow. Well, there's a result. What a pot. He did play the pot, but as a shot to nothing, he's come back. What a kiss in the black.
Well, that was amazing, wasn't it? He didn't want to risk playing it in the middle, played it in the top, and a terrific pot. Put the flick on the black. Well, you couldn't have dreamt of that.
9.
What a chance he's got now. I'll be disappointed with that. I think this red goes, but
16.
I suppose being low, he'll bring the other 3 reds into play. Just got to be careful of an in off in the middle pocket if he's screwing back.
$17.
No. Well, would you believe it? For the first time in the match, he's not punished Shaun Murphy. What an opportunity he's let slip there, Stephen.
Well, he's blaming a bad contact. You see him pointing at the cue ball there. But it's very rare you get a kick off a stun shot like that. But you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. Shaun's getting the cue ball cleaned. Mark's disgusted, so it must have been a bad contact.
One.
Could that be the first little turning point in this match?
Yes, needs to take advantage of this now, Shaun, just to get a bit of belief and get a foothold in the match.
9.
Yeah, it's his first opportunity in the match to pot some easy balls.
16.
May choose to play a little cannon on the red and pink here. No, just making sure he's on the black.
17.
Yeah, maybe that red just below the pink will pot if he gets it the cue ball in the right position. So that puts him now 31 points to lead, so he can win this
24.
with the 3 open reds. Not worried about the red just below the pink. And of course he can play for the blue off this red.
25.
Frame at his mercy.
$30. $31.
That's blue. Will put him 43 points in front with 43 remaining. Just overdid that slightly. There you see it. So this red will put him 44 points ahead with 35 remaining. And it goes. He'll be feeling a lot better now. As in the first two frames when Mark Allen relied on Shaun Murphy making a mistake. That's what Shaun's had to do. They're actually forcing the mistake from their opponent at the moment. They're just picking up the pieces. But that should be enough. 49 points in front, 35 remaining.
Can you please behave up there? Do not scream that loud.
Referee just having a word with the audience. Has he conceded, ref? Do we know? Yeah. Oh, he has? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, Shaun Murphy gets his first frame on the scoreboard. He'll be mighty relieved. One more frame to play before the mid-session interval. Can he make it all square? We'll see.
And real authority shown by our man in the middle tonight, Mr. Alex Crisson. And if you don't know him, there's been a lot of reaction on social media to this fella. He's from the Romanian capital of Bucharest. First started watching the game 12 years ago when his mum got hooked on broadcast, especially when Paul Hunter was playing. He began playing in 2004 and then quickly became fascinated by refereeing. And he's worked his way through the ranks. First ref professionally 4 years ago, ironically at the Paul Hunter Classic in Germany in 2011. And then in York last month, he got the call to work here when he was working at the UK Championships. And he joined Jan Verhaas and Brendan Moore, and would you believe it, it's a Masters semi-final, and it's all thanks to his mum and of course to Paul Hunter, the man who had so much success in this event, 3 times a winner. So in so many respects, Paul Hunter's legacy lives on in this event, John.
Very much so, and I think he's just away there to see one of the security fellas and just say he's putting his foot down. Anyway, He's got great authority. I think someone's annoying him up there. He's probably had too much to drink, so they might not be here long.
They might not be here. But obviously this event in London has always had that lively reputation, but it's been very well behaved, I have to say, all week so far.
Yes, and obviously it comes on the back of the World Darts Championship, so I suppose nothing's as lively as that. But even so, in the world of snooker, where you need ultimate quiet on the shot and no stupidity really from the punters, it's nice to have somebody in the middle who's able to just sort of get the balance right of keeping them in check. It doesn't have to be too strong, but just enough to say, look, give the players respect.
It's interesting, actually, because Ronnie O'Sullivan was only saying the other day how he fancied getting more crowd involvement, perhaps in different kinds of formats. Obviously, there's a real place for the crowd, but this is a very unique sport. It does demand and it does require hush.
Yeah, I think there's certain events that might work, but I'm a bit of an old fuddy-duddy when it comes to this, and I think the World Championships and the Masters in the UK, I think we're doing all right.
I didn't like to say, John.
Yeah, you don't mind people venting their excitement and what have you, but on the shot, silence, please. Just the pace kept that out. Now, where's the red going to finish? He thought the only red he could leave was the one he was playing. I don't think he's left it. I think it's just about run safe. Some of the balls bounce about. Got to cover this red. That's careless from Shaun. Had to cover that red. Left a pot on. Just overcut it. Yeah, I'm surprised that Shaun Murphy left him a path to that red, but Mark didn't take advantage. There's a red immediately above the black. I think Mark Allen may have a path to that red, and he can stun it because he's far enough away from the cushion. Now that cue ball needs to slow up. It needs to stop short of the bault line. It hasn't. So no prizes for guessing what's going to happen next. Snooker behind the brown.
Mark Allen, 1.
Something's tickled his fancy. But he'll know, as will Shaun, the importance of this frame. If Mark can win it, have a 2-frame advantage going into that mid-session interval. So coming around of 3 cushions, he's got the pace. Pretty good line. As he left this outside red cuttable. I think if it was, I think Mark would have been down playing it by now.
Careful not to hit this safety thick. Well, in fact, he's played the more conservative shot, but he's not played it well. I'm quite cautious with their safety play so far, John. They're not playing attacking safeties, opening the reds up. Obviously got great respect for each other. This is more aggressive.
Yeah, I was having a conversation the other day. I was working with Steve Davis, and he was saying that the problem is today, if you play it thick, you open all the reds, and if you don't get a good cue ball, and there's so many players who can knock in that long red and then win the frame in the one visit. So I think that's why they err on the side of caution. But there are occasions when I think a positive, more positive safety shot really puts your opponent under pressure. Not quite certain what Shaun's looking at here. He's having a close look, though. He's wondering whether the black goes. I think it does. So that tells me then he can get past the brown for this red into the left corner. It's tight, but it looks from our angle behind the pocket as though it just goes. But can he get past the brown to pot the red into the left corner? Well, he can't. I'm not quite certain what he's looking at here, unless he's looking at the red just above the black, whether that's possible.
Yeah, even the red to the right of the pink in the open, if he's looking to pot that and stun off the left-hand side cushion. But if he's going to play a very cautious safety shot, then this is very, very aggressive pot to go for this one.
Well, he's got to cue this well, hasn't he?
No, he's playing safe. So there's a lot of thought to go into what the end was quite a simple shot.
Not the best safety shot. Now, Shaun pointing there, the red in the middle of the table, he's thinking if I play the pot and stun over there, I'll be on the blue, and the only red I can possibly leave is the one I'm playing. But he's not going to risk it. This red he's playing will pot to the left corner. And in it goes. Now, flick on the green. Is that any good to him?
1.
Tough brown to the left middle. It's decision time as we watch that excellent pot. Well, the fact he's looking at where the next red's coming, he's going to take this brown on, but it's missable. Good shot. Solid. No holding back there. Well played.
Yeah, without doubt, Shaun's best shot of the
6.
match so far, that brown. Cued it excellently. A really positive shot.
$13. 14. 21. 22.
Well, he's got an angle on the black to go into the reds should he so wish. Unless one of that little cluster of 4 is available, which obviously they are. That's why he played the cannon and played it beautifully. Wasn't certain whether that red on the left of that little cluster of 4 was available, but it is. There you see it. And landed on it absolutely inch perfect.
30.
Great chance to win the frame and level the match going into the mid-session interval. His heart was in his mouth for a moment there because
37.
you think he needed a little bit more pace. I don't think he intended to get that close to that red, but he's okay.
$38.
Well, went in off the jaw.
43.
42 points the lead. Still a possible 91 remaining, so quite a bit to do yet.
$44.
Just not getting inch perfect position now. Well, recovered the situation nicely. Quick glance at the scoreboard. 50 points the
51.
lead. You're going to need 3 of these remaining reds, though, to clinch the frame. 2 in the open.
52.
Yeah, I think after this red, if he can play for the pink to the right centre, we'll just leave an easy angle just to nudge these 3 reds that are below the pink. Don't think the 2 reds below the black pot. So just leave a 3/4 ball angle on the pink here. Well, he's played for the black.
59.
I think I'd be playing for the pink myself. This is not guaranteed.
It's just about on the red to the corner, and the red is all he needs.
66.
This red will put him 66 points ahead with 59 remaining. Well, good response this from Shaun, just as he did last evening against Stephen Maguire. Lost the first 2 frames.
Yeah, Mark Allen will be kicking himself that easy blue he missed in the 3rd frame. Whether it was a kick
72.
or not, I don't know, but what a chance he had to go 3-0 up.
73. $80.
Where's the cue ball going? Oh, well, what a shame. A few times we've looked like we're going to see a century, but we haven't. But what we have got is a great match in our hands here. Good response from Shaun Murphy after losing the first 2 frames. They go into the mid-session interval, all square, 2 apiece.
Yes, his highest break of the match so far, an 80 from Shaun Murphy, and echoes of last night's quarter-final for him, John.
Yeah, it was 2-0 down in that, but I agree with JV in commentary. John said, you know, last night Stephen Maguire came out all guns blazing. There wasn't much he could do. He had chances in the first couple today and didn't take them early on, but once again, it would be nice to play in a match and not give 2 frame start, but to his credit, he's back all square.
Been pretty cagey so far from both guys, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, but I always get the feeling with Shaun Murphy, especially when he's in this type of mood, that he sort of does the equivalent of being a steamroller. You know, you can sort of keep your hands against him, but he just keeps on going for them. And eventually, it seems like, especially in the match against Stephen Maguire, regardless of what Stephen Maguire did, he just kept on going for the shots. The same seems to be happening here. And once he gets into his stride, then he becomes very, very good indeed. And obviously, if Mark Allen shows any weakness, that becomes a problem.
OK, well, we shall go back to that one very shortly, but judging by the response we had from you at home on social media today, it would seem that the first semi-final this afternoon proved to be a perfect excuse for you not to do the shopping and not to go to the gym and not to finish your essays. It was a wonderful match indeed. In fact, it was pretty one-sided. If you are a Neil Robertson fan, you'd be chuffed. If you're a Ronnie O'Sullivan fan, the defending champion, of course, did not have a good time of this at all.
It doesn't get any better than this. The world #1 against the defending champion.
What a shot.
Neil Robertson makes a century and he leads 1-0. Well, that is very, very careless from Ronnie. I mean, the black was frame ball.
63.
What the clearance from the Australian. He now leads 2-0.
Wow.
Look at that for a pot.
14.
Little tricky shot. Well, for mere mortals anyway.
What a pot he's pulled out there.
Fabulous shot.
He now leads 4 frames to 1.
That's special enough for him.
And look at that, right in the centre of the pocket again. Ronnie comes forward to shake the world #1's hand this afternoon. Neil Robertson was awesome. A very comfortable winner, 6 frames to 1.
To be the first player to beat Ronnie in a semi-final here at the Masters, you know, he's won 10 in a row. It's just absolutely amazing, an incredible record. So, yeah, you know, very, very proud of my performance today. You know, Ronnie was the one that you got to beat. You got to beat to win this tournament. Yeah, to be that kind of player, and you know, again to play at a very good standard, very high standard, which I knew I had to do, is very pleasing. But you know, I'm not going to get too excited about this result because, you know, I've got another big step to make tomorrow.
Today I just come up against someone that exposed what weaknesses there is in my game, so really the issue is that I need to kind of try and rediscover the form that I had 18 months ago if I'm to compete with people like Neil, Selby, Ding, Trump, you know, the usual people. You know, if I've missed anyone out, you'll know who they are.
Very rare heavy defeat for Ronnie O'Sullivan. In fact, we were looking back at this. His last big defeat, 5-1, was 2010. And before that, over 9 years, he's only had 3 major defeats like that. 5-1, 5-1 and 6-1, and all of them by Neil Robertson. What were the hallmarks, Steve, of his performance today?
I think clinical potting, very assured around the table, and his break building has come on in leaps and bounds since perhaps even, you know, winning a world championship. He made 100 centuries last year, year before, and I think now he really punishes players, and he's not afraid of Ronnie O'Sullivan. I don't think it's necessarily anything too much to worry about Ronnie, though.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, actually, how damaging that scoreline will be to Ronnie, or he's just going to brush that off and decide, as he says, to play in more events to get himself more
Yeah,
sharp.
I think it might just inspire him. I mean, he's been running through the tournaments, winning them, and sometimes it can cover up. I mean, he said himself he didn't feel as if he was playing at his best, so maybe that's just a little reminder he has to play in a few more events and maybe work a little harder and come back and take him. You know, who knows, that might be a good thing for him in the long run. Let's give him a kickstart again to approach it a different way.
Steve, how important do you imagine a win like that would be for the world #1, just to underline why he is the world #1?
We all need confidence as a player. If you haven't got any, you really are at square one. And even though he walks around the table, Neil, with confidence, it's nice to get reassurance that you can outclass and really put somebody like Ronnie O'Sullivan riveted to his seat. So whilst he did say in the interview, you know, he's not going to put too much credence on it, it's just one result, can't hurt at all.
Absolutely. It was 97% pot success in his quarter-final, 91 in his semi-final. He's going to be pretty intimidating, whoever he plays, whether it be Shaun Murphy or Mark Allen. Now, Mark Allen, a 2-time winner of big titles, but never one of the majors. He's never scared to give you his opinion, this fella, and he's paid for it quite literally over the years because he's had quite a number of fines from the disciplinary committee in this sport. But for all of his pugnacious play and his fiery self, you know, he can have a laugh at himself, and he's a really lovely chap to chat to, and Jason Mohammed has just been doing that.
Well, Mark, it's great to see you. You're having a pretty fine season, up to #6 in the world. What's that down to?
Results, I suppose. Just practice hard, and things are just starting to pay off for me, to be honest. I've practiced as hard this season as I did last season, but just the results have come a little bit earlier. I'm normally a pretty slow starter to the season, dusting off the queue after the golf clubs get put away, but no, just something's clicked this season and I've started pretty well, but I've had a couple of disappointing early exits in the last couple of tournaments, so I want to put that right.
And what about when you've reached the finals, and when you've reached the final of the Shanghai Masters and then you lost in the International Championship as well? How difficult is it to pick yourself up after having such a good run to the final?
Yeah, it's disappointing obviously to lose any match at any stage, but to lose big finals, even more disappointing. It's better than getting beat first round and going home with low on confidence and no money in your pocket. But you still want to, when you get to that stage, you want to win. And I've come up a little bit short, but I don't feel like I've produced anywhere near my best snooker yet this season. And I've been in 4 finals and won 1. So I'm doing something right. If I'm doing that without producing my best, I'm quite looking forward to when I do produce it.
So you can't put your finger on what's going wrong when you reach the final and why you can't lift the trophy. Obviously you've won 1, the Paul Hunter Classic, but losing in Shanghai and the International Championship, that's disappointing. Is there any reason why you're not getting over the line?
I would say, to be honest, probably a little bit of fatigue. I'm not the fittest person in the world, and something that I definitely have to work on. And when I've lost one match in the UK Championships this season to Rod Lawler, I was very disappointed, and more in myself, because I didn't feel like I'd done a lot wrong. I just felt tired during the game, and that's really unacceptable in the third round of a major competition. Since then, I've been on a diet. I've been trying to get a little bit fitter. I've lost over a stone since then, which was only 4 weeks ago. So I'm going in the right direction, but I have a long way to go to get to my ideal target weight.
I follow you on social media, and I get the feeling, Mark, that in the run-up to a tournament, any of the big tournaments, that you really fancy your chances. Why haven't we seen you lift the UK or the Masters or the World Championship?
It's a good question. There's a lot of good players for a start, and there can only ever be one winner of those tournaments every year. I think I've underperformed in the last few seasons. Maybe when I was performing pretty well, I was a little bit naive and immature as a player. You know, when I was younger and coming on the scene, I was getting good results and getting to the later stages of big events early on in my career. Maybe wasn't mature enough to handle it. I think now that I'm more mature, the more I put myself in that position, the big tournament wins will definitely come, but it's annoying because I've won 7 tournaments, but only 2 major ranking events and none of the big 3 on BBC, so that's what the players want. I'll look back at my career when I've finished, and I'll count myself as a good player or a bad player, depending on how many BBC events I win.
There aren't many people, of course, who are coming to Alexandra Palace. They're coming to see Ronnie O'Sullivan. I've heard it described this week as the Ronnie O'Sullivan show. Does that infuriate you as snooker players?
A little, but if Ronnie brings crowds in and sells tickets and some of that ticket money goes into my pocket, then I have no problem at all.
You say a little, but I detect from other players that it really annoys them because, you're all here on merit. You're top 16 players, and yet he seems to get the back page headlines.
Just seems to be the way it is. There's one person in every sport that seems to sell out for different reasons. I'd say a big majority of people come to watch Ronnie aren't snooker fans, they're Ronnie O'Sullivan fans. I think that there is a difference. I don't really mind because Ronnie's getting probably more sponsorship than the rest of us, but at the same time he attracts more viewers. He deserves that, and if he can get more events onto our calendar because of who he is, and maybe tournament sponsors want to hold a tournament so they can say that Ronnie O'Sullivan came, it's given us more earning potential as well. So I'm definitely not jealous one bit. I'd love to be in his position. I think it makes it a little bit more easier financially, especially with these school fees he has to pay. I don't know what school he sends his kids to. It must be very expensive. But Ronnie's Ronnie. Ronnie's different. He's a genius on the table. Some of the things he does makes the game stupidly easy at times. But you have to remember that we're good players too. And on any given day, I think my best snooker's capable of beating Ronnie.
One of the other interesting things about following you on social media as well, Mark, is you're not afraid to tell Barry Hearn or World Snooker or Jason Ferguson how it is.
I wish there was more people like that, to be honest. I think it's hard because you feel like you can't say certain things or else you get into trouble.
But you're an honest guy, so obviously you have no regrets about saying that, but perhaps you've toned down some of your public comments.
Yeah, well, definitely. Well, my bank balance get hit hard whenever I said things that I probably shouldn't have said. I think I'm still quite happy with what I meant by what I said, but I wish I had said things a little bit better. Just part and parcel of being a sports person, and it's hard sometimes when you get a microphone stuck in your face whenever you've just lost a big match and you want to scream and say all the swear words you want and things like that, but you can't do it. You have to bite your tongue, and it's definitely something I've got better at, but I'll never be one that just goes quietly and goes about their business and rolls over, so to speak. But it's hard because Barry Hearn has 51% of control of the company and he can pretty much do what he wants.
Mark, really good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Cheers.
Thanks. Top man, thank you.
He's had a few regrets, as he says, about what he said, but overall, how positive a presence is he within the game right now, John?
Yeah, he's certainly capable of winning events. He's getting near the business end. Just needs to kick on, really. I mean, he's won 2 ranking events and everything. Okay, it just shows you what the standard that they're playing at, but he just really needs to win one of the big ones, a World, a UK, a Masters, if you can, because I think that'll really kick him on.
Okay, and he's obviously serious about trying to lose some weight. He says he's lost a stone, the fitness regime's kicked in. He likes the gym, he says, but he likes his food as well. He's very honest about that.
Yeah, and I think probably everybody in snooker, in any sport, owes it to themselves to give themselves the best possible chance to succeed. It's not impossible to win in sport being effectively unfit. You know, in snooker, you know, Mark's he's one of the top players. Stephen Lee, just before he got banned, won a couple of events, and you wouldn't say that he was necessarily going to be able to run a marathon the next day. And even in some sports that are considered to be more sports than snooker, like golf, you've got somebody like Angel Cabrera, who's, you would hardly say he was...
well, I'm impressed. Do you know who he is?
Well, yeah. He was like, you know, he nearly won the Masters with a beer gut.
Well, he won the Masters,
win the Masters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he did before, 2009. Yeah, okay.
Very good.
Yes. But anyway, when the standards of the top players get even higher and we get closer to the ceiling of what's achievable, then the differences become very small. And if you want to be different, you've got to pay the price more.
Absolutely, and he's certainly working at that. And as we know, it's 2-2 in this semi-final. As for his opponent, it is funny to think that this time last year in the semi-final stages, Shaun Murphy had just been thumped 6-1 by Mark Selby and publicly stated that he wanted to try and think of doing anything other than play snooker. Fast forward 12 months, and the man has won 4 titles. He's made 3 maximum breaks. Crisis over. He's just got engaged to his fiancée Elaine, and everything in the garden is rosy once again. No wonder he was in excellent form when he chatted to our John.
You are probably the person on the circuit who's embraced the circuit more than anybody. You've just played in everything, haven't you?
Do you know, when I was 8-year-old and took up snooker, I took up snooker because I loved it and I loved playing the game. And I didn't want to run the sport. I didn't want to get involved in the politics of it. I wanted to play snooker. I wanted to win snooker tournaments. And over the last 3 or 4 years, snooker's exploded around the world. And I'm a snooker player. What I do is play snooker. So if there's a tournament, I'll be in it.
Do you think that's why your form was outstanding in 2014? I mean, you had plenty of wins, you had all the maximums. Do you think that's it, because you've embraced it and played in everything?
I don't think there's anyone been born in any sport that plays very, very rarely and to a very high standard all the time. I think playing regularly, no matter what sport it is a massive part of it. I think you've got to practice as hard as you can between matches. And I think you've got to put yourself out there in the match arena and test yourself. And that's, for me, that's the only way of keeping sharp.
Now, not so long ago, and I think it was actually at the Masters, you know, even though you reached the semi-final, you weren't really enjoying the game, where you had a little crisis of confidence and you didn't look like you wanted to carry on playing. So what changed?
This time last year, having lost to Mark in the semi-finals, was the lowest moment of my entire professional career, where I seriously gave some thought to going off and doing something else. And I had a real choice to make. You know, am I going to give up and become a statistic, or will I choose to fight and go back to what I know best, which was hours and hours and hours in the club practicing? And that's what I chose to do.
Now, do you think, after all the trials and tribulations and the work you've put in 2014, are you as good a player now as you've ever been?
As far as a snooker player and a complete player is concerned, I sit here now the best I've ever been. You know, I won the world title 10 years ago, the UK Championships and some other events, of course, but my game as a whole has never been in the shape that it's in today. Will that translate into more titles and more majors? I'd like to think so, but from my own point of view, I'm definitely the best I've ever been.
Now, this tournament is the one that's eluded you so far. You've won a World, you've won a UK, but that elusive Triple Crown, this is the one to finish it off. What would it mean to you to win this event?
Winning this event would be absolutely the cream on my cake. It would be the crowning moment of my career, because there's not many players won all 3, and you know, I've watched the players like Robertson, Mark Selby, Ding, players who a few years ago I was on a very similar level to, and over the last few years they've left me in the distance a little bit with victories, including this event. And so I would like to, at some stage in my career, put this tournament to bed and join the likes of your Selbys and Robertsons.
So you just got engaged. When and how did that happen?
Well, my fiancée is Irish, so we were over at her family home in Ireland for Christmas and New Year. I went with the intent of doing it. I mentioned it to a couple of her mates. You know, I did the traditional thing, asked her father if it was okay. I'm still waiting for his answer.
And I just decided, we went out for a nice meal. I thought this is a really good time to do it. And yeah, I was on my knee in front of the restaurant, in front of everybody. Really nervous, probably the most nervous I've ever been. Unfortunately, she said yes. Don't know what she's got herself involved in.
Listen, you do realise, by the way, you'll be given a grey hair if you keep playing 6-5 matches.
Well, it's the first time she's been to a match. She's never been to a tournament before, and at the interval at 3-1, she was dead happy. Everyone's, you know, coffees are nice, everything's going well, no problems. 5-all, she didn't look so chilled out in the crowd. Neither was I.
She'll learn. Good luck, mate.
Cheers, thanks.
And I'm sure her nerves are jangling. She's in the audience again tonight, actually. But you made a very good point there, John, and that is he's watched Mark Selby and Neil Robertson, two of his contemporaries, already win that Triple Crown, join that illustrious band of players to have done it. And yet he was a world champion long before they were.
Oh, yeah. It is a strange one. I mean, it's coming up, well, it's the 10-year anniversary of his World Championship. I mean, amazing to think they came through as a 150-to-1 outsider. I actually was playing in the same qualifier. I was on the next table to him when he qualified and came through and won there. And for him not to have been close to doing that at the Championship again, OK, it shows the standard, but also shows there must be something slightly lacking, or there has been. You know, the UK's won one of them. The way he cues and the way he plays and his scores, you would have thought he'd have won more majors. So there's obviously something a little bit there to work on.
Yeah, and what do you think that is, Steve, if there is anything to be worked on for Shaun Murphy?
Thanks.
Well, okay. Land you in it.
OK, in the past, it's been shot selection. Perhaps being a little bit more attacking when it was perhaps time to defend, and he's tried to work to get that right, but I think he's now probably happier with his balance and perhaps gone back to actually going, well, do you know what, I'm going to try and play to my strengths as well.
OK. Here we go. First to 6 then goes into tomorrow's Daffabet Masters final as his fiancée looks on. And we're going back to Stephen Hendry and John Virgo. Who will it be?
Yes, thank you, Hazel. Very interesting interval, that. I think Shaun Murphy is just in a very good place at the moment. And snooker is a mental game. And if you are in a good place and feeling good about yourself, then it certainly helps when you come out in the arena and have to perform. Misjudged that safety. And he's left the chance now for Mark. To hit that red a little bit fuller. But not punished. Now, well, he's been very fortunate there, Mark Allen. He's got away with it.
I think if you're Mark Allen's support, you'd be a little bit concerned. Although he won the first 2 frames with nice breaks, he's not created his own chance yet. Those 2 frames he was gifted by Shaun, so he's not actually put a long ball and got in by himself at the moment. You see a good long pot by Shaun. Is the work kilo going to stop?
1.
Just run a fraction too far. He can pot the brown, but
green ball.
If he pots the brown, he'd just be running into the yellow, so just playing a little snooker behind the green.
Shaun Murphy, 1.
Peter Ebdon there. And as the sign on the lady's t-shirt says, I love snooker, and so does Peter. And don't we all? Well, there's a few ways you can go here. Obviously, the easy way would be to nestle into the reds on the right-hand side, but that path is blocked by the green. So coming off 2 cushions, or 3 cushions, and he's not hard enough. He may have left the sitter on here for Shaun, and he has.
Call and miss. Trim 1 for 4.
Referee calling miss, but certainly won't be taken.
One.
Obviously the pink doesn't go into the left corner, and not the right angle on the blue. It's helped by the fact that the brown's not on its spot, so he can come up and down the middle of the table.
Six.
Okay, not perfect. He'd like to have been a little straighter on this red to the left corner.
Seven.
Made light of it and controlled the cue ball nicely. Now he has an angle on the blue, and this time just missed the pink and go right into the cluster. Couldn't have hit them better. And they've broken nicely. All the reds in the open, and the pink and black are still available.
12.
Didn't hold back on that. That blowing is the way our referee, Alex Crisson, his own way of cleaning the cue ball. First chance you think that Shaun gets, he'd like to get the pink on its spot.
$13. $19. $20.
It's almost like a practice session now, this, the way the reds are situated. You'll be very surprised if you've seen the cue ball go past the blue now.
$26. $27. $33. $34. $40. $41. 47. $48.
Shaun, one of the best in the world with the rest. I watched him in the practice still before John playing left-handed. He was awesome. Surprises me. Obviously not got the confidence to do it in a match there. That would have been ideal to play that pink left-handed.
54.
Well, as you said, and you remarked on it, I think it was last season how good he was with the rest, and I've never really noticed.
55.
I think the secret, he plays with the rest exactly the same cue action, the same delivery as when he got his hand on the table, where a lot of players, their cue action's different with the rest. They're not as confident, not as positive.
61.
He certainly found another gear in this match.
Yes, and it's knowledgeable Alexander Palace audience know that that was frame ball. And he's taken these really well. He's never looked from the moment he potted the blue and brought all the reds into play. He's never looked in any trouble.
69.
Good stuff.
$75. 76.
Well, there's Mark Allen sitting in his seat, and as Stephen remarked at the start of this frame, Mark won the first two frames, but he was dependent on mistakes from his opponent.
82.
You're not going to win matches just relying on your opponent, not at this level.
83.
Leaving you easy chances. You've got to play good safety and force a mistake. The black's not there. Pity. Well, we've still not got that century that the play deserves, but that won't bother Shaun Murphy in the least. He's now in front. He leads 3 frames to 2.
And that's 3 frames in a row from Shaun Murphy now, and you get the feeling that he's beginning to warm up now, Steve.
He is. He doesn't seem to be putting a foot wrong amongst the balls, and that's handy because when he does open the balls, they fly to the 4 corners. What an astonishing shot this was. You play to screw into the pack. The pink wasn't on its spot, but the only danger there, I suppose, is you're going to knock a red in every now and again.
Yeah, absolutely. You're screwing your face up there in the sheer awe of
I've never seen anybody at the ball that hard, and it was like one of those fireworks that go off. The rocket flies up and just push all over the place. It was an incredible shot.
But weirdly enough, this is the kind of pattern that we saw. Murphy struggling to get a foothold in the match and then really taking off. We saw some exceptional cueing from him in the later stages of that match yesterday as well.
Yeah, and in a way, that's a sign of somebody who's super confident. Because they're sitting in the chair 2-0 down, sometimes your form can evaporate. But I think he's quite happy that when he gets his chances, he's going to convert enough of them that he's going to be a strength and a force. But you know, from Mark Allen's perspective, the problem then is you get off to a good start, you think, oh, I've got a chance, and then now all of a sudden you're really under pressure.
He could do with getting in. I mean, I agree totally with what Stephen said in commentary. He just needs to knock a long ball in himself to get a bit of confidence, to know that all departments are working, because at the moment, you know, certainly the first couple of frames he won, he was relying on Shaun's mistakes to get in. You know, you can't do that at this level. You've got to try and make some of your own.
Weirdly enough, I'm just looking at the long pot success. Mark Allen is 100%, 4 out of 4. 2 out of 4 for Shaun Murphy, but he's not really had to go for many long ones so far tonight, has he, John?
No, not particularly. And as I say, it's just one of those things, when you're playing in a game like this, you want all departments to be functioning. And if you're Mark Allen, you'd like to have a long pot early in this frame, smack it in, and get in amongst the balls and say, right, all departments are functioning well.
OK. Murphy ahead for the first time in this match. Back we go to frame 6.
Frame 6. Shaun Murphy to break.
Shaun Murphy gets frame 6 underway. There is a red on the left-hand side of the table that is available. The black's available. He's got a slight angle. Oh, well, so close. So close. At the moment, just not close enough, and he's left the red for Shaun.
Could have played that for the black. Obviously playing it with an element of safety. The angle just to drop it in for the black.
Well, that's making a big difference at the moment. 100% long pot success for Shaun and down to 40% for Mark Allen.
Just looks super confident now, Shaun. It's going to be tough for Mark Allen to stop Shaun now, the way he's playing.
8.
Just having a look what's available. You would think the plan would be roll the red in, leave a nice angle on the black to play a cannon.
9.
Now you could play a delicate cannon, those two red just above the black, hit the left-hand side one, just gently, just to nudge one into play. Or play it with a bit more power. Well, if he's not on the red to the right corner, he's certainly got one to the left middle. Didn't
16.
feel the necessity to play at a lot of pace. He just had the angle so he could run through and come off the side cushion. There's a couple of loose reds available. He's not got the angle on the blue to bring anything into play anyway, but as I say, he's got a couple of loose reds to get on.
$22. 23.
Pot in this red clears one to the right corner.
30. 31.
Maybe one to the right centre as well. It's just fallen through of two cushions for a choice of two reds. Wants that cue ball to pull up though. Well, unless he got a big bounce, that's a little bit careless.
38.
His expression, I think he believes he got a big bounce off the second cushion.
Well, looking at it, did seem to come off that second cushion a bit quicker, but in all honesty, the red before that black, he could have left a nicer angle on the black just to drop the black in and come off one cushion. So it just shows you just that fraction out with the position on the black, and it's cost him. End of visit.
Wants to play this cushion first, but I don't know if there's enough room in behind the red to play that, because he needs to catch the red full ball on the way back up.
Shaun Murphy, 38.
Well, not brilliant. He has left a chance for Mark Allen, and he's got to start knocking some of these in. 28 minutes since he last potted a ball, and it might be a bit longer still now because the red he played, he's left on.
Yeah, his long game's just not been good enough tonight.
Just having a look, see what's available. The two reds to the left of the pink. Well, I don't know whether both of them are available. Certainly one immediately to the left of the pink is, as we look then. So you just got to find the gap. Maybe both of them do go.
6.
But playing the right-hand side of the one, just to run through and flick off and be on the black nicely.
7.
There's still a red immediately above the black that's available into the right corner. The one in the open available to the right middle. He's just under hit that slightly.
14. 15.
As I say, he's got a nice angle on the blue to play the cannon, but there is that one red that is available. When you play cannons, it can always go wrong. So he has played for the loose red and played it perfectly. And now in potting this red, he can bring the other reds that are required into play.
20. 21.
So this black will put him 66 points in front with 75 remaining. So just a red and a colour required. The red will put him 67 points ahead with 67 left. And the colour was never going to be a problem. Nicely
39.
on the blue. And this blue to go 72 points in front, 67 remaining. Can you just feel at the moment, Stephen, that the only way he's going to break down is if he runs out of position? Don't fancy him missing anything.
No, as I said, he's going up levels now. Looks very comfortable at the table, very confident.
25.
You talk about having one of the best cue actions in the game. He just strikes the ball with so much authority. And it's hard for your opponent to watch that when you see your opponent striking the ball so well.
42. 43.
And there you see the pot success, 94%, Shaun Murphy. Just 84% for Mark Allen. That's the difference.
50. 51.
Nicely played. Still a possible century on.
58.
They keep promising, but we've not had one yet. Oh, a wonderful shot. You've proven what we were saying, or what Stephen was saying
59.
earlier about his competence with the rest. And I think this red is available. I don't think he has to play a cannon. Well, he did play the cannon and he played it nicely. Now the pink, red and the pink, will give him exactly 100. Well, decided to play for the
67.
black. I think I'd have been playing for the pink there myself. And now he's got a job to pot this black and get position on the yellow. Well, he's made a pretty good fist of it, hasn't The 6 remaining colours
74.
for 101. Oh!
76.
Should have played for the pink off the last red. Schoolboy error. Well, it doesn't matter, he's missed the green, so we're not going to see the centre in that frame. But once again, a wonderful performance from Shaun Murphy. Mark Allen is really up against it now. Shaun Murphy is really in full stroke, and he now leads by 4 frames to 2. And that's a few stats about the career of Shaun Murphy. And it's hard to think, really, Stephen, that it was 10 years ago since he won the world title.
Yeah, I think for his talent, he's massively underachieved. There's no doubt about it. But I think signs the last few months, he's won a couple of these PTCs, he's made a few maximums, and I think he's looking to be more of a contender in the big events, as he should be. I think he's just had to develop a more steely edge to his game. Perhaps be a bit nastier.
Thank you. Frame 7, Mark Allen to break.
Nice guys finish last, don't they?
Well, you're a nice guy, and you didn't finish last.
I am now. I wasn't there.
Yeah. OK, point taken.
Yeah, at the interval, both players were sat beside each other having a chat about golf and things like that. Certainly wouldn't have happened in my day. Knew he was always going to leave a pot this red along the black cushion, but he was hoped to leave it straight, or the cue ball even closer to the pocket or the right-hand side cushion. Doesn't have to do a lot with the cue ball here with this red. Drop it in, he's going to be on the black. Not easy though, when you've been sat out for so long.
Yeah, it was 35 minutes since he last potted a ball. That was tricky, and has it run past the middle pocket? Maybe it's just run safe.
Yeah, not even close in the end. As I said, it wasn't an easy pot to face after 35 minutes without getting one. Again, when you're in Shaun Murphy's shoes, when you see that, your opponent missing a shot like that, it just gives you even more confidence.
Much too thick. Now he needs the blue to come to his rescue here. And it has, just. But it wasn't a good safety.
The red to the right of the pink, pots to the right corner. You must be feeling confident, Shaun. No problem for his cue action to pot this and screw the cue ball back. Oh, beautiful.
That's the pink ball going. Ooh, one. Over the pocket.
But Stephen, what a, as you say, he must be feeling confident. What a beautiful shot. And he'd have been unlucky if the pink had dropped, but he nearly did.
Well, I'll be playing for the pink this time, obviously. Thin off the right-hand side of the pink and into the bunch. And we've seen how he split the reds in the last frame off the blue. Can he do the same off the pink?
9.
Yeah, he's got to hit this pink, and because it's right over the pocket, he's got to hit the pink very thin and smash into those reds. Well, it's coming back down the table, but where's the cue ball running? Not perfect on the red. Didn't hit the cluster as thick as he would have liked. Just caught them a glancing blow, but enough pace in the cue ball to come in and out of balk. But not perfect by any means. Good pot needed to keep this going. Referee, no place for the pink, so just trying to get as close to its spot as he can without touching any of the reds. Delicate job. Need a steady finger.
Keeps on rolling back.
Yeah.
That's good now, I think.
Just checking it's in the direct line.
Thank you.
Well spotted.
15.
Always eyeing up the red to the right middle. It's a tough pot. But it's a good one. It's a good one, and he's a nice angle on the blue just to drop on one of these two reds just above the black. Used to hold the pocket, but as it was a difficult pot, every credit. He'd love to be on the red that's occupying the black spot, and I think he's just about on that.
21.
Well, not ideal, so he's going up for the blue.
22.
Once again, he's got a perfect angle on the blue to play on that red. He won't want to be playing on the black until he clears the black spot. That's the thing here. Now, has he got the nice angle this time? I think he has.
27. 28. Yes. $35. 36.
The end red of that cluster will go to the right corner, so he doesn't have to play any cannons. There's quite a few loose reds to play for. And just underhit it slightly, so being low, it could work to his advantage. Pot this red.
43.
And just stun into the other reds around the pink and bring them into play.
17.
Found a nice angle on the blue.
Yeah, looks pretty much put the cue ball where he wants here. This is pretty impressive stuff from being 2-0 down.
49.
A little bit straighter on this red, he'll be able to play for the black. I think he'll have to go back up for the blue now. Always had the advantage of that red being in the ball, Ken, but he could have been better on this blue. Whether he can hold for the red near the baulk line. He couldn't. But that's a lovely positional shot. He's in full control at the moment.
55.
Yes, done with a bit of right-hand side. The cue ball just straighten up, so it avoids cannon in the yellow, which would have been the natural angle. Yeah, it's a lovely feeling when you're at the table, when you're completely confident. Pockets look like buckets.
Red and the black would do it.
61.
69 points ahead with only 67 remaining.
62.
Yeah, there you see it. And he's nicely on the next red, so Mark Allen will not be getting 69. Back to the table. The question is, are they going to give us the century that they keep promising?
70.
Let's see, 5 blues, 1 pink, 5 blacks.
78.
May play a little cannon here. Well, he's going to play for the loose red. Sometime he's got to try and bring that red that's tight to the pink into play if we're going to see that
85.
Century break. Although maybe he could
86.
do it without that. Pots the black, he goes to 93. So another red and the black would do it.
$93. 94.
Well played, Shaun Murphy. That's career century 326. And the Murphy family will be very pleased. Not only with the break, but the way things are going. And can he get that red? Surely not! Surely not! Symbolic too easy, but we got our century. Mark Allen can see the funny side of it, but as I say, Shaun Murphy hits his show at the moment. Superb. He now is just one place or one frame away from a place in the final. He leads 5-2.
Yeah, that's the 26th century and 14 matches here this week. And you look at the scoring, it is 80, 83, 76, 102. That is blitzing him.
Poor pink, though, wasn't it? I mean, let's face it. I just think I feel for Mark Allen a bit.
Yeah.
What can you do? This afternoon, we saw perhaps the greatest exponent of the game unpicked by Neil Robertson, and tonight it's another demolition.
Yeah.
And Mark Allen is himself a tremendous scorer when he's in form.
Yeah, and he's getting sort of half chances and he's not getting close. He had a red near the top cushion as well. He could have gone, and you know he's not potted. JV's mentioned he's not potted a ball for over half an hour, and he's just getting steamrolled. I mean, Murphy, every time he's in the ball, he looks like he's going to score 80 or 100. He's playing fantastically well.
Yeah, he's been second best in many departments, particularly since the interval. You've got to say.
But you know, I'm not going to be. You know, I mean, one of the things snooker players do is criticise other snooker players. You know, we are sort of, it's part of the game, is sort of picking up on things. But in this instance, I just think, you know, when you're out there and you're playing against a guy who's in great form, it's doubly hard in all departments. You know, he's shown great form in beating John Higgins in the first round. He's got to the semi-finals. You know, if he goes home and beats himself up too much, it's perhaps for the wrong reasons.
You know, we were talking this afternoon, Ronnie O'Sullivan got to, what, 35 minutes without putting a ball. Well, Mark Allen is now at 45 minutes since he potted a ball, and that is demoralising in itself, John, surely.
Yeah, it is, and it just becomes, you know, slightly, well, not only frustrating, a little embarrassing out there, but, you know, at the same time, what can you do if someone's knocking all the balls in?
He's one away from second place in the Masters final.
Well, he's made a mistake. He's caught the blue. Now, Mark, time to put your best foot forward. Well done. 46 minutes in it's been since he last potted a ball. Got to find his touch straight away.
Eight. 9.
'Didn't really get the action on the cue ball that was required there. He was trying to hit those reds and
Touching ball.
have a bit of backspin still left on the cue ball, and he didn't, and he just went into the reds and just stopped, and he's on nothing. You'd have to say a little unlucky, but this game's never been any different, Stephen, has it? When you need a bit of luck, you never get it.
No, you think he would have to be on a red to the right corner, whatever happened there.
Touching ball. Sorry. The cue ball moved just a fraction and came back. No. It moved just a little bit, like maximum 2 millimeters, but then it came back.
Okay. Mark Allen really was saying, was that a foul? And the referee's saying, no, it wasn't.
Yes, yes.
He just touched the red, and he has been given a touching ball, Shaun, but not much he can do with it. And in all honesty, the way he's playing, Shaun, he doesn't want to get involved with the little tip-tapping. He's looking at his opponent. Well, there we go. Let's have a look at this shot. Well, it was touching ball, so you can only assume that he's hit the red. And certain Shaun would like to look at Mark and say, fancy a re-rack?
That's 16 points.
Yeah, people shouting out re-rack, but Mark Allen reminding them that he's 16 points in front.
Well, I can't see any other outcome.
Touching ball.
That's not helping, referee. Maybe there's a chance to get the cue ball to the top cushion.
Yeah, I suppose Mark doesn't want to re-rack. Shaun Murphy breaks again and puts him in trouble the next time. But the way they're going, I can only see one outcome.
Touching ball.
Oh, he did find a gap. So that's solved that problem.
Looking at playing a red to the right centre here. Don't think he can leave anything should he miss it.
It was half a chance, wasn't it? Just slightly wide. Well, he must be feeling really good inside. Shaun Murphy's played some superb snooker from 2-0 behind. And he's just waiting patiently for a chance in this frame. A chance to clinch his place in tomorrow's final. But Mark Allen will have other ideas. He'll think win this frame and just stop the rot, so to speak, and then you never know what can happen.
Good shot Shaun played there. Blocked the path to the red that's to the right of the black. So Mark couldn't bring the cue ball back to this cushion and also got the cue ball tight on the cushion.
Yes, and he just can't roll into the reds because he'd leave one. And the problem is, if he plays safe into the balk area, that red that's near the right middle may be cuttable. So giving it plenty of thought. It's a head scratcher, no doubt. Too late, you had your chance. Just thinking, if he gets in the circle while he's tried to... Well, he's managed to get it safe. Well done.
Touching both balls.
Touching both balls. A little bit of light relief. He does like a laugh at the table, Mark Allen. Fair play to him, because looking at the scoreline, he's not got much to smile about.
Red.
Once again, played it well. I put a circle in early on. Well, he obviously can get past the black, and I thought if you could get the cue ball to that position, you wouldn't leave a path to that red near the middle, although that's nudged that red away. So maybe the tables have been slightly turned into Mark's favour.
Shaun can play a good safety shot here. Gets a cue ball somewhere up near the yellow pocket. The ball cushion somewhere around about JV circle. Advantage Shaun Murphy again.
Yes, and pressure on every shot for Mark Allen at the moment, because he knows how well Shaun is playing, and he knows if he just gives him a sniff of a chance, it could be end of match. So pressure on every shot. Got an excellent cue ball.
I think there's room, the red to the right of the black, to play that up and down the table. Leave the cue ball on the black cushion.
He'll be a little bit disappointed with that. I think he's left a possible pot to the left middle. But as I said a few moments ago, there's nothing easy for Mark Allen at the moment. His next mistake could be his last.
Yeah, well, the fact he's standing up at the end of the table means he's not going to take this red on. So still exercising caution. But if he's left Shaun this red, I bet he wish he took it on. Well, obviously he's got the snooker. And it's a decent safety.
Don't think it's the kind of situation you could risk, trying to get the cue ball back to the baulk end. He could come off the top cushion and just nestle on that red near the left corner. You'd have to judge the line and length perfectly. Well, played to leave the cue ball near the top cushion and did it well. Although having said that, there is a red I think he can get through to Mark for the right middle. No. As I say, there's nothing easy at the moment for Mark, and not only has he missed it, he's left the red he played. Where's he playing this, into the middle or this right corner pocket? Corner pocket, and right in the heart of it. Here's your chance, Shaun, to book your place in the final.
Pin ball.
Well, didn't want the kiss on the blue, but I think he may just be okay. I don't know. Let's have a look at his body language.
4.
Misjudged that, but I don't think the blue's in his way. Could have gone wrong.
Yeah, slightly bad contact on the cue ball, which made the cue ball came off at a slightly thicker line. The natural angle was to miss the blue. As you say, he's quite fortunate to still be on it and have a shot.
12. 13.
2 reds above the black, the one on the right, plays into that one with pace. And that's what he's done. That's perfect.
From 2-1 down, in frame 4 he made a break
21.
of 80. In frame 5 he made a break of 83. In frame 6, a break of 76. And the last frame, 102. A repeat of that, and he'll be over the line. But, as we always say, the frame to win a match can always be a little bit awkward. Not happy with the contact there, and you saw the bounce. It just took a little bit of pace out the cue ball. Wanted to be straight on this red to the right middle. He's still on it, but he's going away from pink and black.
His first round he went 5-1 up and Mark Selby and was dragged back to 5 each. Won't be wanting the same thing to happen again. Be putting full concentration into this opportunity. Red at the bottom of those 3 pots to the left corner. So you'd think this
32.
can follow through for the black. It's looking like the end.
33.
Yeah, he got off to a good start, did Mark Allen, but he's not really been able to cope with the scoring onslaught from Shaun Murphy. Every time he's got in, the only
40.
reason you think he'll break down is a poor positional shot. He's not missed many pots, with a 95% pot success.
$41.
It's not ideal, obviously, and you have to keep back going up for bulk colours. Just making it more difficult than it need be.
Takes him to 500 points scored against Mark Allen's 199.
44.
Just over 300 points difference. And cued that absolutely as beautifully as he's cued anything this evening. So he's not feeling the pressure of the winning line in sight. Not at the moment.
$52. 53.
44 ahead, 59 remaining, so a red and a black.
60.
To get him to the snooker's required stage, he's just gone a little bit twixt in between. I don't know if he can just roll this red to the right middle and land on the black. That cue ball going very close to the corner pocket. It's going very close to the corner pocket. Would you believe it? Would you believe it?
60. Mark Allen 4.
Well, surely he should have seen that. That was a bad error. How costly will it be? So Mark Allen came to the table 41 points behind, 51 remaining. Needs to clear up to win the frame. Shaun Murphy has given him a lifeline. Well, he's developed the red, but unless it passes the yellow,
6.
I don't think it's much good to him, and it won't pass the yellow. So it looks as though he's only got a safety shot to play, but he's still in the match. And I'm certain a few moments ago when he was sat in his seat, he thought he wouldn't have a chance.
Can you put your camera away, please?
Well, hold on, referee. Don't do that when the player's just about to hit the ball.
Mark Allen, 6.
He's covered the red in the middle of the table. He's forcing Shaun Murphy to bring the red away from the left-hand side cushion. And he's got to avoid the pink and blue and that other red in the middle of the table here. It could go wrong. He didn't want to risk going back. Now, where's that red going? It's going over the corner. Can Mark Allen get through to it? Can he get through to it? The answer, I think, is no. And it's not one you can come and play off the cushion because it's just to the wide angle. So Shaun has been a bit fortunate there. There you see it. If it was right in the middle of the pocket, coming off the side cushion or even playing one red onto the other is an option, but it's difficult now.
I'd favour the swerve myself.
Just playing it off the cushion, you've got to catch it mighty thin, and he didn't catch it at all. And that surely is end of match.
Shaun Murphy, 4.
He was a little unlucky, Mark Allen, not to have a go at that red. But I don't think he'll be getting a go at anything else now. Just the red required.
Thank you. 1.
Well, as we always say at snooker, it's a cruel game in many ways, because no matter how good and no matter how well you're playing, when you're sat in your seat, there's nothing you can do about it. And Shaun Murphy has played superb this evening. Okay, he made an error in this frame when he went in off, but
4.
Let's not forget, he was 2-0 behind and really went through the gears.
Nine. 11. 14.
A little bit of an exhibition shot.
18.
Not bothered about the blue. He just wants to shake his opponent's hand. Mark Allen disappointed, but he knows how well Shaun Murphy has played tonight. Disappointment for Mark, but Shaun Murphy, that was a virtuoso performance at the highest quality, and he gets a standing ovation, and it's well deserved, and he's through to tomorrow's final. Superb performance. He beats Mark Allen by 6 frames to 2.
And from 2-0 down, he won 6 in a row. Shaun Murphy at his very best. He's on his way here to the studio, and he's through to his second Masters final. First of all, your reaction to what was a bit of a well-won demolition in the end, John?
Hugely impressive from 2-0 down for the scoring that he produced all the way through. 80, 83, 76, 102, 60. Hugely impressive scoring, and when you can do that, you can win tournaments.
Which sets up a rather tasty final tomorrow against Neil Robertson, doesn't it?
It certainly does. I mean, John Virgo said that he thought Shaun Murphy was in a very good space in his head, and I think he's played tonight and the previous match like he's got a force field around him. But he's going to come up against another player who seems to have the similar force field. When the two clash, who's going to weaken?
Well, this is a repeat of the 2012 final, in fact, as Neil Robertson beat Shaun that evening 10 frames to 6. But you have a feeling this is going to be a cracker. And here he comes.
Well played.
Second Masters finalist.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Shaun. Can you describe the thrill of making it to this final for us again?
Well, I mean, a lot's been said and written about, you know, this is the one I need to complete my sort of triple crown. And as much as you try and ignore that, you can't. And it does mean so much. So to be through to the final, have another crack at it, is what I came for.
You brought it up, though, didn't you? You just brought it up.
You
We
did.
never talked.
You're thinking about it.
I actually think you guys brought it up.
Oh, did we?
Quite a lot,
I think you
actually,
brought it up.
Okay, fair enough.
Shaun, same situation as last night, 2-0 down, and then the real Shaun Murphy stands up.
Well, do you know, at 2-0, I sat in my chair and I didn't think I'd done a great deal wrong. I mean, it's a new cloth put on last night. And so today's semi-finalists, we've all had to try and get used to how those balls are playing on a new set. You know, it's basically a new table for everybody. And I missed a couple of balls in the first couple of frames because of that, just because I just wasn't used to it. But once I settled, I was okay.
You know, 12 months ago, this very evening, you were so disillusioned. You were talking about doing something else with your life. Are you very glad you hung in now?
Yeah, very much so. You know, I've got some very, very good people around me, some great friends. And people just let me have my moment. You know, I went on Twitter and blasted myself and said that's it, and they said that was it here. And
what job were you intending to do?
yeah, I don't really
Was
know.
anything in the pipeline?
Snooker coach, something like that. Definitely not an escape artist, because this time last year I couldn't get out of a snooker, I couldn't do anything, it was terrible. But yeah, you know, I had a really good hard look in the mirror and thought, you know, I can quit, I can go and do something else, or I can persevere and try again. And that's what I did.
Can I ask you a question? Did you watch today? Did you watch the first semi-final?
No.
You didn't?
No, no. I watched. I saw the first sort of bit of the frame, the intros. Thought that would be good to watch. I thought the match was going to be, you know, a fantastic game of snooker for snooker fans. But no, I was here, but I was practicing.
No, because I just wondered whether some players might want to see that and see what they're playing like, or whether they're forming it, or you just blank it completely.
I mean, those two earlier on this afternoon, we all know how good they are. I didn't want to watch that.
Did you see Neil's performance against Ali Carter, a similar scoreline, 6-1?
No, I was actually driving the car down here, and I missed that game. But, I mean, he's just... when he plays the way he's playing this week, he's almost unbeatable. And, you know, it's my job to try and find a little nick somewhere.
Yeah. To make the case for yourself, out there, you're enjoying yourself, aren't you?
Yeah, a complete turnaround from 12 months ago. You know, I really went back to just decided to attack the game and play the game of snooker the way I enjoy playing snooker, not what I thought, not what everyone else was telling me to do. From being 10-year-old, I used to go for my shots, and some friends from those days text me and said, why do you play like everybody else these days? And you should stick to your strengths. That's what I chose to do. And
the biggest thing, though, is, I mean, what you're doing is, you can see from the scorecard, you're scoring. That's the thing. It's one visit snooker, isn't it? And you can't win tournaments. Or you can do it, but it's a lot harder to win if you're not scoring like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the stats are something like the first 3 years of this event, there were no centuries at all. You know, is Perry Mann's the guy that won it making a 50-odd break or something like that? Those days have gone in snooker.
Yeah.
And if you're not scoring, if you're not hitting people hard in one visit, you can't compete.
That was the 26th this week, by the way, earlier tonight, so that does tell its own story. But can I go back to that vexed question of the Triple Crown, since you brought it up? And we actually heard in an interview with Shaun that, you know, I think it rather irked you that you were the first amongst your sort of peer group to win the world title. You've seen Mark Selby win a Triple Crown, you've seen Neil Robertson do it. How much do you want to complete this little puzzle, Shaun?
Yeah, it would be the thing that I've chased the most over the last few years. You know, it hurt a lot losing to Mark in the final of the UK a couple of years ago, but that came nowhere to how much it hurt losing here a couple of years ago to Neil Robertson. So, you know, I'll have a great night's sleep, come back tomorrow refreshed, and I'll be giving absolutely everything. I'll
tell you what, your fiancée seems to be something of a lucky charm. Our first live game of snooker was the match against Mark Selby, and, well, she's seen some good stuff from you, hasn't she?
You know, it's a shame she's got a proper job because she should be coming to every match. But no, she's watched for the last few months. She's watched me play on Eurosport and around the world in different events, and she's wanted to come. And you know, this week it was actually my mum's first visit to watch me play live ever.
Wow!
Since I was a teenager.
They probably think snooker's quite an easy game.
You're making it look easy, that's for sure. Can I just interject with the head-to-head stats between you chaps, you and Mr. Robertson, because at the moment it's Neil who has the slightly better record with 11 wins to 7. Obviously, Neil beat you in that final 10 frames to 6, and he's largely had the better of your head-to-head since then at 5 wins out of 6. How will you attack a match against Neil differently or in the same way as you have done over the last few years since that last final, Shaun?
Yeah, they don't make for great reading, those stats, do they? You know, I've improved in a lot of areas over the last couple of years and really worked hard on my game, worked out where I went wrong in those games. You know, a few years ago I could not compete in the tactical safety department of the game. That's something I've spent a lot of time working on, and part of the reason why I'm still here this week. But I think you've just got to mix a good tactical astuteness with good attacking play, and all I can do is do my shots as well as I can.
And just tell me a little bit about this venue, because we've only been here, what, 4 years? And you've had a great record here. You've been in a final, you're in 2 finals now. What is it about this place that you love and seems to bring out some great stuff in you?
I think it's the crowds. I don't know whether it's a London thing or whether it's just, you know, we're down to 3 events now in the UK, sort of majors. But they come here, they make it. They make it what it is. You know, the Ali Pali is a fantastic place but it is just a building at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
The crowd make it what it is. We've added extra seats this year. It's been nearly every session's been packed. And they're the difference.
Yeah. OK, Shaun, we can't wait for tomorrow, and we're looking forward to seeing you and Neil Robertson play in the DAFA Masters final. Thank you very much for joining us. Match of the day is following at 10:25 over on BBC One, but it's Robertson Murphy, the Masters sequel tomorrow from 10 to 1. I really hope you can join us. Not to be missed, this one. Catch you then. Bye-bye.